All right, so now that we've got a couple animations set, we're ready to export some sprite sheets from those. And I'll go ahead and state it explicitly in case you didn't realize it, that the animation goes with the armature, the bone structure we put here. So if we use that character image as a starting point and came back and added more details and made it look, uh, made a nice, really nice looking image, that's, from this as a starter file, so the same size and proportions, then we could just bring that in and this armor and link it to this armature, and those animations would still be there with an updated version of this. So if we just continually update our this same skin to get to a final draft, the animation goes with the armature. So then we can just bring in the new skin and apply it to the skeleton and make for a quick, and we don't have to redo this process as the character updates. If we just use this as our starting point and just keep making improvements to that image, as long as it's the same size and proportions, it will still link directly to that same skeleton. We'll have to apply weight still, but that's not too bad of an issue. So we're ready to export this. So, well, that means we're going to take pictures of it. So we need a camera. So if we come over to Object, come over to Add, we can add a camera. And with that selected, I'm going to look at the object properties. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0 on the rotation. So it's looking straight forward. But right now, that camera is currently at the origin. Oh, I'm not sure what happened with the rotation there. Why am I rotating around the Z-axis? This will work. I'll just come over here. So we can move that camera and back. Oh, there we go. We can move that camera back so that it's looking at our character. And to see what that looks like, if we go to View, under Cameras, Active Camera, oh, there's what we're looking at. So that looks pretty good. It's centered right on the character. So we're ready to do our outputs. And there's a couple menus over here. So first off, under the second one here, Render Properties, we probably want to come in here and scroll down to the option for Film. And under Film, hit the checkbox to make sure that the background is transparent, because we just want our character. We don't want the gray grid marks behind it. So under Render Properties, Film is a checkbox for a transparent background, and everything else will be under Output Properties. So we have the main things we'll need for sure is our resolution for X and Y. And obviously, more pixels here means higher quality. Less pixels means a smaller file size. Here, if we turn our bones off, we don't really need to see those for now. If we turn our bones off, there's not a lot of going on here, so I'm going to set it to a fairly low quality. There's not really much to lose. I'll try 250 by 400. 400. Probably make that even smaller with 300. Oh, the other way. 500. So we can also just click and drag here until we get our aspect ratio about like what we want. Why are both of those adjusting the X value? I was looking for something that would make that shorter. Well, I guess that kind of looks like the same shape as the character. So I can exit the camera view and move it a little closer and see if that's kind of zoomed in on the character better. Maybe a little more. which we could also go over to the object properties and just change our transform. So if we try, we can click and drag until it looks like a good size. Something like that. Right on the character, our resolution is pretty low, but there's not much quality here. Then we just need to choose our output file. So I'm going to come over here and go to Documents, the file folders for this video playlist, and Images. There's this folder called Sprite, and I'm going to call the first one character underscore idle underscore, and I want to end with that. You'll see why I ended with an underscore there in just a second. So if we come back over to our animation tab, make sure the right animation is selected. Maybe I'll start with the idle animation. If we run that, oh, whoops. Make sure you select the armature here. Now select the idle animation and run that, and we'll see the character breathing. So that'll work. And we have our camera set up. So now if we go to render animation, it's fairly low quality, so it shouldn't take too long. I'll pause the video while this goes through though. Oh, there it goes. And you can see it takes a second or so on each one, and the higher the quality, obviously the longer that's going to take. Also, the higher the quality, the bigger the file size. That should make sense. Well, already up to 17, 18, so we're almost finished. There we go. All of our images are rendered down. So once those are rendered, we can come over here to render and view the animation and get a preview of it. So that's what it'll look like, and we can speed it up and slow it down, and obviously more refinements could be made. This video wasn't looking for a great animation. This video was going over the staking animation. So hopefully you'll be able to do that and make something that looks a little bit better for a character animation than what I did in the example here. And if we come over to our folder, so on my other screen, in images and Sprite, you can see we have a whole lot of images. Oh, that's kind of dark. We did forget something. So I'm going to come back over here because we forgot to put any light there. So come back over to layout, go to cameras, active camera to toggle that view on and off. Come back to where we're looking at our character. Maybe I'll spin around to the side somewhere. I'll look over from this. Oh, somehow my navigation got off. It's not navigating on one of the axes when I go to rotate, but I'll fix that later. It's not too big of a deal. So I can do it from over here at the side. From any of the sides. So there's our character. One thing we need is some light. So if we go to light, I'll just do a sunlight. Starts it right at the origin. So I'll move it up, back this way. So it's behind the camera and hit rotate around the x-axis and bend it down so it shines right on our character. Come back and check the camera view now. So we can see the sunlight is shining right on our character. So I'll come back over to the animation tab now that we have some light and hit render animation again. Oh yeah, and this time we can see it's a little bit brighter. We can also see a shadow from the arm. That looks kind of nice there. So I'll pause while this renders. Okay, that rendered down. So if we come over here, back to the render tab and view the animation, get a preview of it. Oh yeah, we can see it's much better lighting on it now. So our idle animation, if we come over here, you see we have a lot of files. And notice it just added that 0001 afterwards, up through 20. So we will have to make a slight adjustment because you'll notice there's 4 digits, 0001 or 0013. So we'll need an if statement to tell if we're above or below 10 when we get back over to Python. But it just gives us that name and then all of those things so we can export our other animation. So back over here, make sure the armature is selected. Choose which animation to export. Run to get a preview of it. That'll work. That's going to be our movement animation. But again, the point of this wasn't high quality animation. So go to render animation. And the point of this wasn't a great animation. The point of this was the steps to make an animation. So hopefully now you'll be able to make a run animation that looks a whole lot better than this one I just made. So I'm going to pause the video while that renders down. Okay, so you can see once we get the animation set up, it's really easy. We just go click render animation. Well, set up a camera and a light. Don't forget your lighting. Then go to render and render the animation. And then we get a little preview of it. And over in our folder, we have this huge Sprite sheet. 20 images for an animation that we can use. And now the skeleton's set up, so we can just keep making animations over and over and over again. And if we update this character, just add details to work towards a final draft and get better and better, but keep those proportions and sizes the same, we can still use that skeleton. So any nice animations we get along the way, we can just put a better skin on and just build up better details here. That's another reason I decided to go ahead and include this, but you can see it's very easy. So once the animation's set up, throw in a camera, some lighting, and then just keep choosing positions. And whenever you have a nice animation you like, go to render animation, and you have all the images for the sprite sheet. So that's it for the 2D animations. We'll be back in a moment for the 3D animations, but it's basically the same thing. We create our model and then add a skeleton to it, parent the skin to the skeleton, then move the skeleton and the skin follows. But we'll still go over that in the next video anyway, so I'll see you then.